and welcome, Boom Nation. I am Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert, and tonight I get to share with you something that's so much fun. I hope you get a lot out of this. So, we are going to talk tonight about getting your sass on. So we're gonna do a little bit of sort of mindset stuff before we get to the sort of yummy, juicy stuff. And I have a special sort of visualization exercise that I'm going to take you through probably about halfway through. So stick with us because this is going to be a good one. It is so much fun to start to play with this sort of energy of like sassy and sexy, and it's playful, it's generative, and it can be very feminine. And that doesn't mean that men can't do it too. So I am so glad you are with me tonight. We're going to talk about some of the mindset stuff that can cause us to hold that part of us back. And then we're going to get into some playful stuff. So here's the deal. I am a mindset and empowerment coach, and what I work with mostly is something that I call Subliminal Soundtrack. And I'm going to tell you what that is so we're all on the same page, because you may have been here before, but there might be someone new that hasn't heard this before. So here's the thing. We have this loop of messages that plays in the back of our minds all day, every day. It is made up of little bits of information that we've picked up throughout the course of our lives. So every conversation you've ever had, every relationship you've been part of, every lesson you've learned, every single experience gives us these little bits of information that gets stored back there on the subliminal soundtrack. We use that information to create our belief systems about everything. So our belief systems about who we are, what our value is, what our worthiness is, what does it mean to love or be loved? What does it mean to have or not have money? What do things mean? It's all tied up with that stuff that's going on back there. So I'm going to give you a really quick example, just so it makes it really clear. Suppose that I have grown up in a family with a mom who thinks that February is the absolute hardest month of the year. Now, who knows what happened maybe in her childhood or her young adulthood or whatever the case may be, but something probably happened in February that has caused her to have that belief system that, oh my God, February's coming. Oh boy, we better brace ourselves. We better get ready because this is a tough month. So if I've grown up with that year after year after year after year, eventually she's not even going to have to say anything before I start to think, oh boy, February's coming. Geez, there's no way around it. And I will automatically start to brace against that hardest month of the year. But here's the really fascinating thing about this. What we believe to be true will be true for us, even if it's based on completely incorrect information. So let's go with that February example. What if I am someone who really loves outdoor, winter activities? And where I live, February is the absolute best month of the year for those sorts of things. So maybe I like to ice skate. Maybe I like to toboggan or snowshoe or ski or any number of other really wonderful things that we can do in February where I live. What if I really love Valentine's Day? Do you see what I'm saying? So the fact that my mother has given me this sort of belief system that February is the hardest month of the year really doesn't line up with my world and my beliefs, because I just love February. It's a great month. So that's the beautiful thing. We can shift those things and change them around. We can create new belief systems that actually are supportive of who we are and what we desire in our world. That is the really good news. So when we start to talk about this idea of sort of sass, there are some things that we really need to get a little bit of clarity on before we can get to the juicy stuff. Okay. So if you are somebody that has bought into all of the media stuff, that you need to be a certain size, or your butt needs to be a certain way, or your hair needs to be long and flowing, or you need to have great big biceps, whatever it is. If you are somebody who's bought into sort of the media imaging around what it means to be sexy, what it means to be beautiful, what it means to be strong, all of those kinds of things. If you're someone who's bought into those ideas, then you may well have some limiting beliefs around this whole idea of what does it mean to be sassy and sexy and playful. And also, we can be at a point in our lives. I'm turning 50 actually in just a couple of weeks. Can you imagine? I'm so excited. I know, I'm so excited. I'm one of those weird people that goes, oh, yay, I get another year. Yay. I don't worry about this stuff. But there are things that start to happen with our bodies, right? We start to maybe things are a little bit looser or jigglier or whatever the case may be, a little bit saggier. Those sorts of things very naturally happen to the human body, don't they? So if we've bought into these ideas of what it means to look beautiful, that the media presents us, then when those changes start happening, we may not really have the belief that our aging bodies are beautiful anymore, or sexy, or strong, or whatever the case may be. So there are a few things that I want us to talk about around that before we get to our visualization exercise. I hope you're ready, because this is my absolute favorite exercise to do with people. And I hope you're going to get a whole lot out of it too. So again, this media idea, but there are other cultures out there, aren't there? There are other cultures that don't seem to perceive the body in the same way that we do. There are cultures that celebrate the aging process. They believe that the elders are people who are worthy of our honor and our respect and all of that kind of stuff. What they understand, I think, that is different than maybe sometimes our culture really focuses on is the wisdom and the beauty and the learning that happens as we age is as much a part of our beauty as our shell is. If we can take a moment and understand what this body really is, this body is a vessel, it is a vehicle, it is a way for our being to interact with the world. It is not the only part of us that matters. It is not the only thing that defines whether or not we are beautiful unless we choose to have that perception.
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
All right. Again, you choose. You can change that right now. You can change that right this minute. If you are someone who's locked into those sort of belief systems, we're going to walk through some stuff that will help you shift that around and start to see yourself in a different way. So just for a wee bit of background here, I just want to share with you that I had a long-term marriage. It ended about 3.5, 4 years ago. And in that relationship, what had happened, and I think what often happens for people, we have all of these jobs, these responsibilities, there are the children and there are the bills and there's work and there's this and there's that. Maybe there are aging parents, maybe there are siblings that need our support or friends who need our support, whatever it is. We get so very busy with all of the jobs and the tasks and the responsibilities that we have, that at some point, what happens for some of us, and I know what happened for me, was that I just kind of forgot. I kind of forgot that there was something in there, someone in there that liked to be playful, that liked to flirt, that liked to sort of, that sassy little walk with his hips swaying, all that kind of stuff. I forgot about her. she got buried under all of those responsibilities. And I don't think that this is just a female thing. I think that regardless of your gender, as we go through our lives and we're raising our kids and we're, paying for our house or whatever, like whatever your responsibilities may be, as we're running a business or building a business, there are so many things that require our attention right now that sometimes there's not a whole lot left at the end of the day. Would you agree with that? There's just not a whole lot left. We're so worn out and depleted that we roll into bed, and then the following morning we jump back out of bed, or maybe we roll out of bed because we can't jump, and we go about our business. So it's that rinse and repeat, the same thing every day, the same thing every day. And when we have gotten into that kind of routine and we don't have play and fun anymore, it is really hard on our spirit. And it can be really hard on our body too. So one of the things that I would like to share with you, just from a place of, let's start to challenge those belief systems so that we can start to perceive ourselves in a different way. So we have all of these media images, right? Your waist is supposed to be this big, and your butt is supposed to be this big, and your chest is supposed to be this big. And it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. It doesn't matter what flavor of body you have, but it's all supposed to look a certain way, right? And we're not supposed to be wrinkled, and we're not supposed to be whatever. We're not supposed to be those things. So what I'd like you to consider is that most of those people that are setting that standard for what it means to be beautiful, most of them don't even look like that. Do you know how this one really hit home? So I'm a hefty kind of gal, right? I'm not a tiny girl. I've never been a tiny girl in my entire life. I was the kind of girl that, the boys wanted on the football team because I could take you out. I could take you out at the knees. I was the first girl every time picked for any kind of sporting event or gym class or whatever the case may be, because I was very athletic at that point in my life, and I was strong. And so I never could identify with this sort of pretty little girl that I saw everywhere, and I associated with that. Oh, that's what a pretty girl looks like. Do you see what I'm saying? So the result of this was that I had this really warped idea about what I looked like. I look back at photos of myself as a child now, and I'm like, how could I possibly have thought that that was fat? Here's how it happened. So when I was born, I was really quite ill. I had a whole bunch of health concerns, and we lived in a city. We lived in Windsor, Ontario, in Canada, and there was a lot of pollution, and I was allergic to the pollution. So I was really sick all the time, and I would still go out and play with the kids and stuff like that. But also, I have a big frame. I come from big people. I am never going to be a petite little person. That is never going to happen. It is completely unreasonable. Okay. So I remember being outside, and I'm going to say I was about 5 years old. Now, remember, we're talking about Subliminal Soundtrack and how this stuff happens. So I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I was playing outside with some of the kids. And I remember one of the kids coming over to me and saying, my mom asked who Jackie was. And I pointed at you, and she said, oh, it's the chubby girl. I didn't even know what that word meant. So I went home, of course, and I went to either my grandmother, we called her Nanny. She lived with us from the time I was very little because she was helping to care for me as part of the family unit. So I'm sure it was probably I went to Nanny, and I said, what does chubby mean? And she got quite upset because she was like, who said that? But the point of the matter is that Jackie was the chubby girl. Do you see what I'm saying? And that got stuck back there. So even when I was, a little bit older, and maybe the baby fat was gone, or, I'd gotten a little bit stronger because of the athletics that I participated in, or whatever the case may be, even when I had a holy cow figure when I was a young adult, I still perceived myself as being the chubby girl, the fat girl. Do you understand what I'm saying? And what that led to, in all honesty, was it led to actually a bulimia problem for a number of years because I could not perceive the beauty of my body as it was. I was doing this thing where I was looking at other people and comparing to other people. And let me give you just one quick tip on this. That is always a mistake. Always, always a mistake to compare yourself with others. So as I went through my life and as, I grew and changed and, then there was a baby. So there are stretch marks and you see what I'm saying? These are the things that happen. These are the things that happen to our bodies. And there's not a whole lot that we can do about that unless you want to wrap yourself in bubble wrap. And I don't know, maybe find some magician that can keep you young forever. But who wants that? Like, really, who wants to be young forever? Not me. Absolutely not me. So I remember one day, and this is a few years ago, there's a store here in Canada that we call Pennington's. And that is like widely known where I live for being the place for larger ladies to find pretty clothes. Now, they're not all that pretty, but sometimes you can find something really nice. And I remember going into the store one time and there's a great big sign, on the back wall of the store. And it was obviously a plus size girl or woman. And I'm looking at this body and I'm thinking, how in the world is that waist so, like straight? It's like there should be, you can see that there should be a little bit of roll or something. There should be something there. And I remember standing there looking at that picture and thinking, wow, even in a plus size ladies store, we can't celebrate a plus size lady's body. Do you see what I'm saying? It's really very sad. And this can be anything. Like for me, that's my thing. That's been my challenge, I guess, with my body for the most part. There are people out there who maybe they feel they're not tall enough or they're not short enough or whatever the case may be. We all have things about ourselves that we look at and we judge them. We judge them and we make ourselves feel badly about something. Now, here's something that I learned after I became single. This thing about beauty is in the eye of the beholder is so very true. When that marriage ended, to be really frank, I felt old, I felt fat, and I felt unattractive. And because he had moved on to another woman, there was a big piece of unworthiness that I had to work through. But what I found over, I'm going to say the next year or so, was that there are a lot of men out there who find women who look just like me very attractive. Very attractive. The Valentine's Day after I became single, I remember being very surprised because, I'd been talking to different men and I dated a little bit and four men reached out to me on Valentine's Day to wish me a happy Valentine's Day. You could have knocked me over with a feather because I was still carrying around that stuff that I needed to work through. Do you understand? All of that stuff. And what often happens with these things is these challenges, these things that get stuck on that subliminal soundtrack are the ones that will trip us up. Maybe we won't have a problem with them for a while, but eventually they will trip us up again. So here's what I would like you to just play around with. I would like you to play around with the idea that your body, again, is the vehicle. It's the vehicle that allows you to have certain experiences. It's the vehicle that allows you to interact with others and with nature or, your surroundings, whatever the case may be. It is this beautiful creation that is so perfectly engineered and engineered beyond any comprehension. So here's what I want to do right now. I want to take you into this visualization. I don't know why I'm tripping over that tonight. I would like to take you into that exercise now. So here's where we're going to start. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and get really comfortable wherever you are, sitting, lying down. Just close your eyes and get really comfortable for a moment. And I want you to take a deep breath in and out. And another one in and out. I want you to feel the tension leaving your body every time you exhale. Keep taking those deep breaths in and out. And with every exhale, feel the tension leaving your body. Feel your body supported wherever you are. Feel your back against the chair. Feel your bottom supported from underneath. Feel your body relaxing into the space because you are perfectly safe here and there is nothing that can harm you here. Keep breathing deeply. Keep breathing deeply. So now I'd like you to just consider this beautiful body right now. I would like you to consider how magical it is. I would like you to consider that your heart beats without any effort on your part, that your lungs continue to take in the air and expel the air, that they pull from the air the oxygen that your body requires. How magical is that? That your digestion just happens without you having to think about it. That when you're sleeping, your body rejuvenates with no effort. Just allow yourself to sink into that space of honoring and considering how beautiful this gift that you have, this body that you have, really is. Now I'm going to ask you to think about tasting something that is just delicious. Maybe it's a fresh strawberry. Maybe it's a piece of cheese. It could be anything, a glass of wine, a cup of tea, whatever it is that you just go, oh my God, that is so good. Allow yourself to be in that moment, to taste that thing right now. Now consider that without this beautiful, amazing body that you have, you may not actually be able to taste that. Now allow yourself to think about a child that you love, little child that you love. Think about when you hear their laughter. Think about when you hear them squeal with joy. Think about how it feels to wrap your arms around them and for them to wrap their little arms around you. Think about how much of a blessing this body is, that it allows you to hear those things, that it allows you to feel those arms wrapped around you. It allows you to create life. What a miracle it is that your body with another person's body can create a life. What a miracle it is that that baby can be nourished in its mother's womb so that it can grow and those cells will multiply magically as they grow. And a few short months later, there is a beautiful new creature on this planet that is only there because your body helped to create it. Now, I'd like you to think about someone you've loved, someone you've felt passion for. I'd like you to think about how it feels when they touch your hand, or maybe they touch your cheek or your shoulder, if they rub your back. Now I'd like you to just remember for a second how it feels when your lover kisses you. All of these things, these magical, amazing things, are only possible because you have this body. Imagine how it feels when you sing, when you laugh, when you dance or jump with joy, when you do whatever activity it is that your body loves to do. Maybe you do like to ice skate or ski or toboggan. Maybe you like to lay in the sand on a hot beach and then walking and go into the water. You can only feel that water against your skin because you have this beautiful, amazing body. Now just think about the gratitude that you can have for all of these experiences, the experiences that this body makes possible, that you would not be available to you without this body. And as you think about that for a moment, I want you to take a few more deep breaths. And whenever you're ready, you start to come back. Feel your body in the chair. Feel your back supported. Maybe wiggle your fingers a little bit, wiggle your toes. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. Come back and be with me again for just a few more minutes. So what we just did, every single time I have done that with a live group, there have been tears, there have been joyful feelings, because when we perceive our body from that place, our body is a gift. It does not matter. It does not matter whether you're tall or short or fat or thin or old or young, or it does not matter. This body that you have right now, without it, you could not have any of the experiences that we just took a few minutes, and so many more. I love to drive fast down the highway, and I know Bruce is with me, and I know he does too. Do you just think about how the air feels, the wind feels on your skin, through your hair? None of those things are possible without this body. So when we can come to a place of gratitude, doesn't it start to shift that judgment around? When I can look in my face and see the wrinkles and know that they're there because I smiled and laughed. When I can look at my body and the stretch marks and think, oh my God, if I didn't have those stretch marks, I may not have had my son. And how much joy has that created in my life? All of these things, I went for a really long walk today. I had a block of time that opened up for me and I had to fill it. And I thought, I know what I'm going to do. And on my Facebook page, I actually posted, I normally do this thing that I call a mindful moment video, but today, just with the timing, it didn't work. But what I did share was pictures of the trees are changing colors here. So we've got golds and yellows and reds and all kinds of beautiful colors. And you can smell, these earthy sort of leaves scents in the air. And I thought, man, now I couldn't have done that without a body. Do you see what I'm saying? So we need to shift from this idea of judgment about what we look like or what we've been told we look like, and start to turn that around and understand that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have this body. This is the one that we have. And I'm not saying don't take care of it. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that for a moment. But there are also things that we can do. If we're not happy with certain things, there are things that we can do, right? So if you're willing to take action, then go ahead and do that. Or just get really comfortable in your own skin, because I promise you, the surprising thing for me was understanding that there were a lot of men who looked at me in a completely different way than I saw myself. And I know that that's the case for a lot of people. We don't understand. We don't understand that confidence is actually sexy. We don't understand all of these things. Now, I did a virtual summit a couple of weeks ago, and we had one of our speakers is an image consultant, and she was so much fun. But she was talking about things like wearing different colors. She was talking about the fit of clothes and making sure that you feel good when you put them on. There was another experience, and I think this was when I started to remember that girl, that flirty, fun, playful kind of girl. This was when it happened. I was in Phoenix on a trip, and I don't know why. Things have been kind of rough for a while, and I have this amazing tribe of people, and I always try to be positive, but I knew that some of that was kind of getting into that. So when I was in this place in Phoenix, I thought, you know what? I want to share this. I want to share this, like this whole experience, the fun that I'm having, the excitement that I'm having, what I'm learning. So I took my camera, my phone, and I started to take pictures. I took pictures of the sunsets and the sunrises. I took pictures of the hotel and the pool. And I'm swimming outside in November. That has never in my life happened before. So these were the kinds of things that I was sharing. I was going into these classes and I was learning stuff. And then for some reason, one morning I thought, oh, I'm just going to take a picture of myself in the mirror, post that up on Facebook. I'm excited. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to learn these things today. Can't wait to see how it goes, blah, blah, blah. Throw it up on Facebook, positive, positive, positive. So the following morning, I had on a new outfit, and it's off the shoulder kind of thing. So I'd put on a pretty bra, and I decided that morning that I wanted to take a selfie of myself. It was very interesting what shifted for me, because when I looked at that picture, I saw a different woman. I didn't see the old, tired, unworthy woman. I saw soft and feminine and really pretty, even maybe a little bit sexy. And that was when it started to shift for me. I went, oh my God, she's still in there. She is still in there. I wonder what I need to do to bring her back, because I remembered. Don't you remember those times in your life when you felt that? And maybe sassy is not the right word. Maybe you felt really like virile or whatever it is. I mean, it depends on what works for you. But do you remember that? That like, oh man, I got it going on. Do you remember that? So that's what we're talking about right now. It is still there. It might look different on the outside, but man, that piece of you is still there and still vibrant. And in my case, just screaming to come out and play. Please let me come out and play. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's where we start. We start with that shifting of the mindset to the place where we can acknowledge, without this body, I couldn't have taken those pictures. I couldn't have swam in that pool in November. I couldn't have flown on a plane to get to where I was going. And I certainly couldn't have had that off the shoulder sort of sassy outfit. And believe me, when I walked into that room, I had my heels on, and oh boy, the whole body was swaying, and people stopped and looked, because that is the thing. When you have that sort of thing going on where it's like, oh yeah, I got this. Oh yeah. That's the energy that I want you to just play around with. There is this generative, what's the word? Go with generative. It's almost magical. It's almost magical. You want your shoulders back, your head held high. There are things that happen to us in this life that can cause us to be uncomfortable in our own skin, or to feel unpleasantness. Where it is important for us to understand is that it is a choice that we make. Now, I know that you can't quite see the top of this sign back here. It says, happiness is not a destination. It is a way of life. It is completely up to you how you choose to be in whatever circumstances you are in. Now, I'm not saying that things don't get hard sometimes, but I want you to just consider something for a second. That woman that I saw in that photo, soft and feminine and kind of pretty and sexy, when she walks into the room, do you think it matters what's going on in her life? Do you think it matters? We can face our life in a different way when we allow ourselves to embrace that strong, sassy place within ourselves, whatever that looks like for you. I know for some people it's going to be a completely different thing, and that's okay. What we need to do is we need to figure out how to uncover whatever that is in your world. So I'm going to invite you to play around with that visualization again and again and again, as many times as you like. I'm sure this is being recorded right now, so I'm sure that you can watch it again and just let it play and shut your eyes and start to remember. Start to remember there's a potency. That was the word that I was looking for. There is a potency inside you that maybe you've forgotten about. Maybe you just haven't played with him or her in such a long time. That doesn't mean it's gone. It doesn't mean that it is not right there waiting for you. So I'm going to ask you to do that visualization exercise more, however many times it suits you. Just keep playing the recording. It's fine. And while you're doing that, start to think about some of the other things. So when I was going through this transition into becoming a single woman again, there were things that I started to play around with, mini putt, dancing, singing, all of these kinds of things. My friends are great. We were going out and doing all kinds of stuff. There was also a man that I met. Now we ended up becoming friends. It wasn't anything that would work in the other way, but we had so much fun. And I'll tell you, I never knew that I would enjoy the things that he and I did together. We used to go run around in the woods with our cameras and take pictures of, nature stuff and search for waterfalls and all kinds of things. Now, again, this body is required for me to do any of those activities, right? So play around, make this fun. What kinds of things did you used to like to do when you remember feeling that way? Was it an activity that you did? Was it a certain group of people that you were around? What were you doing when you felt that potency, that sass, that whatever it is for you, when you felt strong and attractive, beautiful, whatever it is for you? What were you doing? And is it possible for you to bring that back into your life? Just before COVID hit, I used to play baseball. I was one wicked third baseman, I promise you. They used to actually call me the Hoover because nothing got past me. And I loved doing that. It was so much fun. Now I haven't played in a very, very, very long time. And somewhere along the line, I had lost my baseball glove. So right before COVID hit, I thought, oh, I'm going to buy a baseball glove. And this summer, I'm going to find a team. I've still got the baseball glove. I haven't found the team yet, but hopefully by next summer, I'm going to find a team that I can play with and bring those things back into my world. You don't have to take it all on at once. And that's something that sometimes we go, oh, okay, well, I remember when I was 25 years old, and these are all of the things. These were the people. These were the things that I did. And we have a tendency sometimes to want to rush the process. It can be a lot more yummy. In all honesty, it can be a lot more yummy if you just go a little bit at a time. Add this in. Honestly, I love to flirt. It's a thing. It's a thing that I had forgotten about for a long time. But I can do that anywhere. And it can be completely innocent. Now, masks have kind of gotten in the way a little bit, but we can do the Zoom thing, can't we? You can see the eyes. I mean, I know you can see the eyes. This is the thing. And that is one of those pieces for me, that sort of flirty thing, that feminine thing, whatever it is. So I want you to just sort of think about, when have you felt like that before in your life? What was going on? What kinds of activities were you doing? Maybe who were the people that were around? Some of those people may or may not be around, because I can promise you, I think I've got 3 people that are still in my life from when I was younger. Thank God. Thank God for them, right? But play whatever you want to do. The kids are fantastic for this, by the way, because kids don't care. They just don't care what you look like, right? It wasn't the little girl that told me that I was chubby. It was that mom had told her that I was chubby, right? She liked Jackie because Jackie was fun. She liked to run around and play and all that kind of stuff with me because she didn't care what I looked like. So play with the kids. There is a poem, and I wish I had it because I would love to read it for you. But there's a poem that I remember where they're talking about, do you want to get to the end of your life having not walked into the ocean because you were concerned about, the cellulite on your thighs, having not done all of these other things because you were concerned about how you look? We want to get to the place where how we look, it matters a little bit. It matters if it makes you feel good. But where we can look at ourselves with love and honor and respect because we understand the gift that we are. I really want you to play around with this. And, the sassy, sexy kind of thing, in all honesty, that's one of the best places to go. And I'm not going to go too far into that because it's kind of a G thing here. But think about when you're doing that meditation again, or even when you're just sitting and maybe doing some journaling or something like that. Think about those parts of your being. Think about bringing that up, waking that up again. It is still there. It's gone nowhere. It's just maybe a little bit hidden from you right now. And all you need to do is start to play again to bring him or her or it, whatever it is, back out into the open. And I promise you that once you embrace that potency, that generative energy, that thing, it's almost like magic. It's almost like magic. Think about this. I'm going to ask you to consider something. What if you are smarter, more capable, more potent, and more magical than you ever considered possible? What if all of that is hidden somewhere in this being, and all you need to do to bring that out, to bring that back to life, is to start to play? It's not even that hard to do. Think about that. If you're a lady, maybe, I know I cut my hair off. That was one of the first things that happened. I used to have very long hair. Bruce remembers that. Great big braid. I wore the braid. I cut it off and I donated it to whomever. And sassy, you see? Sassy. So what do you like to do with your clothes, with your hair? If you wear makeup, with your makeup, jewelry, whatever it is. What kinds of shoes or boots make that rolling thing happen with your body? What kinds of, again, let's go into the activities. What kinds of things can you do today? It doesn't even have to cost you a lot of money. What kinds of things can you do today? So I have as a reference point, I think that most of us will probably know this song that John Mayer? Your body is a wonderland, right? That is now just again, perceive that energy. Your body is a wonderland. There's so many things that are possible. He's talking about this intimate experience. And again, that's one of the best ways, I think, to tap into this place of sass and potency and generative energy. Because that's where the reproduction stuff happens, isn't it? Generative, right? So he's talking about that. And you want to maybe it's candles, maybe it's a nice bath, maybe it's a massage. What is going to help your body wake up? Wake up and be there and be present for you. Do you need a certain type of touch? Do you need, like, maybe it's a type of fabric that feels really nice, satin or cashmere or something like that? What we're talking about doing is we're talking about getting out of our brain and back into our body, enjoying those senses that, geez, there's a word that is absolutely escaping me, but that, like, decadence almost, that taste of that thing that is just so, delicious. That smell of something that, wow, the leaves when I took my walk today, embracing the body and the senses. And once you start to bring that out, you will naturally start to shift into a more confident place. You will naturally start to handle things differently. You will walk into a room differently, I promise you. And I'll tell you, when I walked into that room with all those people in Phoenix, oh my God, it was so much fun for me, because I noticed, and it wasn't just the men that were looking. Like, people, when you walk into a room with that, like, energy going on, people stop and look. So how nice might that feel? How nice might it feel to have that thing where you're like, oh boy, look at this. Look at what's happening around me right now. And remember how much of a gift your body is, because again, you are gifting those people that experience just by walking into the room. You are gifting other people the experience of your hugs, your kisses, your whatever touch you do for other people. That is a gift. When we can start to honor that body and start to honor our being as a gift, it naturally starts to shift. Again, I'm going to be 50. In just a couple of weeks, I'm going to be 50 years old. And I have to tell you that I don't know that I have ever felt more comfortable in my own skin. The saggy, the wrinkly, the stretch marks. I don't think I've ever felt so comfortable in my own skin. I'm going to share one more thing with you, and then our time is just about up. There is a Japanese art form that I absolutely love. Absolutely love. It is called Kintsugi. Kintsugi. Look it up on Google. You will see some amazing images. So remember how I mentioned about the different cultures and how different cultures sometimes perceive things in a different way? So with this Kintsugi thing, what they do is they honor the cracks, they honor the breaks, they honor the aging. So if a piece of pottery, for example, falls and breaks into a bunch of pieces, rather than trying to hide those cracks or throwing it out, they actually melt down gold and they mend those breaks with gold. So that piece is now even more beautiful because it broke. It's now more beautiful because it has more experience. We honor the experience. And in our bodies, of course, we honor our wisdom. We honor the things. I lost my sister almost 10 years ago now. And she was about 46, I think, when she passed. And I remember so many things, but that is one of the reasons why I have this attitude of gratitude for every single day that I get, because I know that she had plans and I know that there were things that she wanted to do and she didn't get the opportunity to. So I honor this body. I honor it because I'm still here. And without it, I couldn't be talking with you right now. I couldn't have conversations with Bruce that light me up, that make me happy. I couldn't have those physical interactions with people, with things, with animals. I've got a little pup. Well, he's not a pup anymore, but I've got my buddy Riley, and he loves to be scratched and cuddled, and he'll kiss you and all of that kind of stuff. Little children, we couldn't have those interactions. Think about what it feels like to hold a baby in your arms. Think about how wonderful and warm and just simple things are when we are being in our bodies and allowing ourselves to experience those things. Think about how it feels to walk in the rain or walk in the snow or walk in the autumn air, and you can smell the leaves and all of that kind of stuff. Allow yourself to tap into that potency and that beautiful body, regardless of what it looks like. Kintsugi. What if you could honor every part of yourself, every wrinkle, every stretch mark, every scar in the same way? What if you could perceive all of those things from a place of experience? I got that scar because this happened, or I got this mark because that happened. What if you could allow that to be a place of, how lucky am I? How lucky am I that I get to hug my loved ones? How lucky am I to get to enjoy that lover's kiss? Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm going to leave you tonight, folks. Thank you so much for your time. I will be back next week, I think, and I'll be back fairly frequently. I love being here. I hope that you got something out of our session tonight, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.